What if instead of going through the application process and traditional interviews, you found a job by completing a treasure hunt or a puzzle or some kind of alternate reality game? Well, that might sound like fiction. It's actually happening, and we don't even know how much it's happening. But I can give you a few examples. I jotted down a few I thought would be interesting. One, Google. In 2004, Google placed a cryptic math puzzle on a billboard in Silicon Valley. The message read, "First 10-digit prime found in consecutive digits of E." And the answer, adding .com to the end, took them to a website where they were taken through a number of other challenges. At the end, the reward, the treasure, was being given an opportunity to apply for some select engineering jobs at Google. Or in 2015, the government communication headquarters in the UK, their intelligence and cybersecurity agency, they embedded a cryptographic puzzle inside their official holiday cards. And solving the first layer unlocked a website with more challenges focused on logic and other things like that. And those who progressed through the puzzles were eventually invited to apply. So in both of these examples, it didn't get rid of the traditional application process, but it was a chance to engage creative, bright problem solvers who might be a good fit for their job in a way that I would say was worth their time. Even the people who were going through the problem solving didn't even know that it was for a job. They were just engaged in it because it was meaningful, it was fun, it was interesting, it was a problem, and they like solving problems. I think about how much time people spend going through the process to apply for jobs, put together their resume, go to interviews, go through all of the other kinds of steps that might be involved in an application process. And it's a lot of work and a lot of effort. And this is an intriguing possibility to think about a future where more jobs actually create a pathway for each to get to know one another that's fun and interesting, and that the candidate would find worthwhile even if they didn't get the job. In fact, like I said, in the examples that I gave here, they didn't even know that it was for a job for most of the time. There's another one that people suspect may have some connection to a job, but it's really speculation. And it was Cicada 3301 in 2012 to the present. And I'll go back. I jotted down some notes. In 2012, a mysterious image appeared on the internet claiming to seek highly intelligent individuals. And it sparked this global puzzle hunt known as Cicada 3301. It involved all sorts of complex things, cryptography and philosophy and real-world clues that were being posted in cities all around the world. And the organization, to this day, to the best of my knowledge, we don't know who actually created this puzzle and who runs it. And many people speculate that it was some kind of elite group or security agency or group, and those who make it further in this alternate reality game, perhaps you might call it, are then considered to be candidates for positions. But again, we don't know that. And that's the part that's kind of intriguing about this whole world is there's a lot we don't know. There could be hundreds or even thousands of employers who have used alternate reality games, puzzles, riddles, treasure hunts, and other things embedded in traditional interview processes and also just put out there in the world, using it as a way to vet candidates and to find people who might be a good fit for what they're seeking. Now, in jobs that are really high demand and require highly skilled individuals, this seems to be a good fit. It might not be a good fit for every job, but it is an intriguing one. And I think this is a practice that we're going to see much more of in the future, but we may not even know when we're seeing it. Years ago, I was working, I think it was now maybe 8, 9, almost 10 years ago. I've done a lot of work and research in workforce development, and I've consulted for a number of think tanks and agencies and organizations over the years, trying to help them figure out pathways to find connections with the best possible employees for their organization, and doing it in ways that go beyond the traditional kind of credential vetting process. In fact, one of the things that I discovered in my study over the years was that a lot of times traditional application processes rule out some of the best candidates. Say, for example, in this Google example that I gave, say that there's a person that doesn't have the formal academic credentials that you might expect, but they're really gifted, self-taught. Maybe they have an adjacent degree or something like that. But if it had just gone through the regular traditional process, they might have been screened out and ruled out in the first vetting because they just didn't have the right credential or the right number of years of experience or something like that, when in fact that might have been the absolutely best person for the position. And so organizations have come to realize that. They've come to realize that while credentials can be a signifier of qualification and years of experience and work-related past experience can be a signifier of qualification, there are other people who are highly qualified that just don't show up. It just doesn't show up in a traditional resume. So in some ways, this could lead us past what I would call credentialism into an employment system that can be fun, engaging, interesting, not perceived as a waste of time for those who are being vetted and reviewed, and also for the employers, it could be an interesting opportunity for them to find some really great qualified people for their organization. So I wanted to just introduce the concept in this video, but what I've decided to do is I'm going to create another video that will walk you through a few ideas on how one might go about creating what I'm going to call a challenge-based hiring system. A hiring system that taps into riddles, puzzles, treasure hunts, alternate reality games, and other things like that. And by the way, this doesn't only need to be used for an employer. It could be used for a group or an organization or a club or something else of that sort, where you could create these pathways. I'm not talking about creating secret societies here or anything like that, although I acknowledge that they do exist. But I'm just talking about using these in a ways that add some playfulness and some fun and some interest to this process that becomes so mechanistic. And this is an invitation for us to get more into something that's more deeply human, that taps into wonder and mystery and curiosity and problem solving and other things like that. The higher level thinking skills that we're often looking for with employers or looking for when they're looking to add new people to the team. So look for that video in the future. I will be releasing that, and might even do a series of them because there are so many different ways to approach it. In fact, I have, as a consultant, helped some organizations build these, what I call challenge-based hiring systems. Sometimes they are levels where you make it through level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then level 5 might be the interview or something of that sort. And I've also been intrigued and done a little bit of work. I applied for a grant but didn't get it, on building a system that not only allowed people to go through this game-based system for potential qualification for employment at an organization, but even if you didn't get the job, you will have developed new skills and knowledge that you could actually put on your resume for other jobs. So you wouldn't be wasting your time even if you knew it was a job application process. So that's all I have for this one. Look for the other video coming soon.